Hang on.
Welcome to the High Stakes Fantasy Network podcast. Brought to you by PlayNFC.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the High Stakes Fantasy Network podcast. This is our first live stream NFBC draft of the season, and we're off to a flying start. We're waiting for Hall of Famer Shawn Childs to get here. Shawn, how you doing, and what the hell took you so long?
Well, I'm a new guy. I'm multitasking, and so listen, we're gonna do this draft, and which one of you guys is in charge of starting pitching, and which one's bullpens or whatever? Because this is like going to labor with Greg. He yells at me the whole time.
I'm still going to yell at you, even though we're not partners, for crying out loud. So here we go. We're off and running. We didn't even get a chance to do niceties to each other. Tom, I'll do one with you. How are you doing, Tom?
I'm doing great. I'm not drafting, so I'm feeling good tonight. I just got to watch Shawn draft tonight, so I'm doing great.
All right, I got to talk about the weather. Shawn, I know you're in the Northeast. It's terrible up there. You having an ice storm or what the hell?
No, it changed. It's okay now.
Oh, okay. All right, Shawn has the 5th pick.
Listen. I got to explain this whole thing. Last year, I got all gun ho about having one online champion for the QLC, and I had picked 9, and I wanted Strider to make it to me, or wanted to get Strider. But when I got picked 9, I'm like, I am out of it. Well, he makes it to me at pick 9, and he fails and gets hurt. So it ruined my season. So because of I'm not ready at all, I haven't drafted. I've only done 225 players. I'm going to, go off the board and take Paul Skeens because I can. All right. I got ideas of the players. I researched 220 something players, but so I'm going to just, in the theme of last year, I am going to go with Skeens to be different and see how it shakes out. And it's a 12-team league. And I think that the opportunity in the second round will be a little bit better, but we'll see what happens.
Can we tell you that you just set the new minimum for the Rotowire Online Championship with him at 5?
Well, how many drafts have you had so far? Tell me how many.
23.
23. Well, all those, when we get to March, all those guys are going to jump in. The pitching guys are going to move them up. They're just waiting in the background and saying, oh, don't talk about him. We can get him at 12 or 11, 9. Maybe nobody will think. But you know what? He was great last year, so we'll see what happens.
There you go. Tom, what's his ADP? He's got a pretty good range in the Rotowire Online Championship right now, correct?
Yeah, I'm actually looking at about the last week or so. He's gone as high as 8th overall. So like you said, Shawn just jumped him up there. So that'll be the new high for Skeens.
Yeah.
As low as 17th. Actually, he's the only pitcher who's gone in the first round of our Rotowires in the last week. So it's been a pretty offense-heavy first round so far, as I think we're going to see here play itself out. The first 8 picks, Skeens so far the only pitcher going. There's 8 offensive players in the first 9 picks so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start out just so you can hear it as well as see it. But Shohei Ohtani was at 1, Aaron Judge 2, Bobby Witt 3. Those 3 players are the only ones who have gone 1 overall in the Rotowire Online Championship through 23 drafts, now 24 drafts. Jose Ramirez went 4, Paul Skeens 5, Ellie De La Cruz goes 6, Gunnar Henderson 7, Juan Soto 8, Corbin Carroll 9, Vladimir Guerrero 10, and Kyle Tucker 11. Tom, I was looking at the ADPs. I see 16 different players have gone in the first round. It has been an awful lot of chalk lately, it seems like. Like you say, all the hitters are going early, it seems like, and you might get 1 or 2 at most starting pitchers going in the first round of 15-team drafts even.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the ADP again, I'm looking at the past week or so of our drafts. You got in 10 guys going in the top 9 picks. So again, a lot of chalk players, a lot of the top guys all locked into the early drafts. Again, it's early, very early in the drafting season. So I think people are kind of going with the safe picks, the familiar picks right now in the early portion of our drafting season because, we're not even into spring training yet. So I think everybody just kind of wants to play it safe right now in the early going of the drafting season.
Yeah. All right, Shawn, I got to ask you, I assume you set your KDS just 1 through 12, right? Like you weren't carrying at this point?
Well, unfortunately, I got a phone call from somebody, and they asked me what I wanted for a pick, and I said, well, and I said the same little story. He says, well, they already did the ADP, the KDS, but they thought that I would take earlier, and I'm just like, well, I'll just see what happens,
See,
just
I knew
gonna
that's what
kind of wing it. So to expand on my thing, when I'm in the back of my head, when I was saying that I was going to do Skeens, I thought I would come back and, maybe try to take, kind of like the balance home run speed guys, try to get a catcher or two that could be a foundation player and see what happens. But unfortunately, I'm at the mercy of what they're going to leave me. And I guess I got to avoid some of the injury risk, like a Cooner or something might be popular for some guys. But, I that type of player, I wouldn't draft right now. I have opinion of when I think he'll be back, but, I do have to play it kind of safe a little bit here. But
all right. So in this 12-teamer, you got 2 starting pitchers in the first 18. When we get to Las Vegas, how many starting pitchers go in the first round?
I would say that's 4 or 5. In the first round. First round. Probably, I would say just maybe 2, maybe 3. Because you do have pitcher heavy guys, and Wheeler might back in Scooble. Sure. So I would think Scooble, Skeens, and Wheeler would move in there. And I'm not looking at the camera, so now I'm on the clock. I have, like I said, it's kind of winging it here. Trey Turner, veteran player. What he brings. Chisholm's, new home, injury prone. Second base, Marte. Freeman's a foundation guy, but unfortunately, I'm stuck. I'm at the mercy. I got to take Trey Turner. He burnt me last year in the main event, got hurt. He did okay, but he wasn't what you thought a couple of years ago. But, so I got a little bit of speed, a little bit of batting average, some home runs. The shortstop's pretty deep this year, and there's a lot of opportunities I like. You could go with Seager later on. It's like getting the first baseman, shortstop. He could stay healthy. Abrams and some other guys could steal. But, I think there's even that great Bo Bichette, who's going to be a great value this year, right? He's going to bounce back, right?
Yeah, he's like ADP in the 130s. I know because I'm in a draft right now, and I was like, "Holy cow, 130! That seems pretty far down." So let me ask you: your theory always was with your first 3 hitters, get 75 home runs, 75 stolen bases. That's pretty tough to do these days. After you take a starting pitcher first, what numbers are you looking for from your first 3 hitters?
I think it's exactly the same. I was trying to be balanced, but the steals are so much. Total is so much higher, and then you can get bigger numbers on some of these guys. So what did last year on Clark's team? Did he have 100 or after like 2 players, Ramirez and Ramirez? Then it reminds me of David D. Donato when he won. He had like 3 guys that got up 100. I think he had Wells and what's his name there from Kansas City? So Beltran. Those type of players, but. It's the same thing. 3 players, and if I, maybe it's 3 because I might have 3 hitters over the first 6 rounds. I'm not sure what I'm going to do at the relief pitcher position. 12-teamers a little bit different. So, like I said, it's just more of a winging thing here. But I do have a pretty good opinion of the inventory. I think for the 225 players. But to be on the clock, I always think that doing this type of draft, I have to be behind the wheel and make decisions, and I got to make decisions in a minute. And you're much better at making decisions when you have thought about these things as the player flows change. Yeah. So right now, I got no plan.
This is where you get your experience. So this is where you start driving the car, right?
Should I take a Yankee Chisholm? That'd give me some speed and home runs. I'm not really but Michael Harris is the guy everybody loves. Acuna's hurt. Third base, man, you got 40 Chisholm. Riley, like the power guy. Alonso, you know what?
Can you believe this guy's in the Hall of Fame, everyone?
I'm going to go I'm going to take another power speed guy, and that's not my type of player, but I'm going to do it because I can.
You can do whatever you want.
Team 6 was waiting on you for he really wanted Acuna.
I don't know who is that. Anyways, I can't see the name.
We're not telling you that on live TV. My goodness, can't you see we've X'd out everybody's names here to protect the innocent?
Oh, well, geez, I've been in the bunker. I don't know what's going on over there.
Well, people, let's see. We had a big controversy while I was on vacation. Have you kept up on all this stuff yet or not? Are you just
listen? Sure I've taken on a new project on fantasy sports on SI, and I've tried to be the social guy, and even posted some articles where it's well beyond my realm, so I don't have a lot of time. And they made me write football stuff the last 2 days, props and stuff. So I'm all over the board, losing time on I wanted to have all the bullpens ready by the time I did this, and not that I ever, do we have we still have closers on the board. I'm still alive to get a closer. But in my first year I did this, I had the decision on the 4th round between Rivera of the Yankees and Keith Falk, who got signed with Boston that year.
Yeah.
And the homer and me took Falk, and he had a pretty good year. But I think if I take Rivera, I might have won.
The overall?
I think so. He had like 50. He had like a bunch more saves. Not that the closer wasn't that bad, but this. When you just look back at those things, you're like, wow, if I'd have did something different. But
I know, but in 2004, you wouldn't have taken a Yankee. You're a Red Sox fan, true and true. So, but
don't call me.
If you would have got that first national title in your first year, you really would have been a Hall of Famer. Now you're still chasing that first national title.
Just think about this, Greg. Every year that I play from now on, I lower the bar for somebody to come in, right? So if you're open to let me go, I'm fine with that. I understand that.
We've talked about this many years. You're real close to being kicked out, but I just can't do it. It would be unprecedented to kick out a Hall of Famer.
You could say you put me in the steroid era. I did provide content on the draft on the boards and stuff, and I did pretty good before before everybody did like 100 drafts together, and not that I'm have no problem reading the draft boards and the player movement and stuff like that, but the players just don't cooperate. Carlos Correa, you got 5 years of crap. Wow.
Well, you stayed on him too long. That was one problem. You stayed on a love affair with him.
What's this guy Wyatt Langford going in the 3rd round? Isn't he a 5th rounder? What am I doing here? Are these guys flying up the draft board?
Tom, where's Wyatt Langford's ADP?
Langford actually goes a little bit later in this one here. So his ADP is about 30 in the last week. So he actually dipped a little bit, about a half a round later in this draft than he's been going in recent drafts. So
really? Wow.
Maybe a mild bargain for Team 11.
Wow.
Get up to speed, Shawn, would you?
You telling me I could have had him in the 3rd round and that would have been a fair price? Oh my!
It would have been a fair price if you took him and Chisholm. Actually, Chisholm's going about where you took him, so him or Langford.
Wow. How are you getting the 75 with your first 3 picks here?
Oh, well, I mean, Chisholm could steal 40 bases. Turner could steal.
Oh, you 30. Got the steals. I'm talking about the power.
Well, Chisholm's could hit 30 and Turner 20. I mean, all I need is you to walk down to first baseman. I'm good. Hey, these guys aren't listening, are they?
I don't think so. There's only, let me just check here. There's only about 185 people, so I don't think any of them are drafting against you right now.
185. But, it's the best thing about me writing content and doing this stuff. Nobody cares about me anymore, right? That's what I said. I'm dead money. I'm not prepped.
You're supposed to be helping the people watching this, if you will. So,
but if you ask me players, I could help you.
All right. Let's see you build a roster. We're gonna stick with you for the first hour, and then you do the rest off camera. But we're gonna stick with you for an hour here. We're gonna have some fun. So
that's all I get is an hour. I thought I was under contract for longer than that.
Today is February 6th, so we got plenty of time before we get to Las Vegas. And just so everybody knows, man, everything's filling in nicely. I mean, the Draft Champions is way ahead of pace. All of our contests are doing fantastic. So keep them coming. Let's keep drafting, and we'll do a couple live streams each week. We've got other people doing live streams, so hopefully people are going to get into baseball even more after the Super Bowl. Football has been a great year, but it's got to come to an end on Sunday. And then next week, we launch our NFFC site again. You can draft right now, but the 2025 season will roll over on Wednesday, I believe, Tom, right?
Yep. Yeah, we'll launch 2025 officially on Wednesday. Like you said, we got some drafts going on right now, some best ball drafts, but everything will be open for 2025 for football next Wednesday. That means our live events, but everything on next Wednesday. But like you said, baseball is off to a great start. We've sold out all the New Jersey. I think we sold out everything in New Jersey, right?
Yep. All 5 leagues. Our first time back to the East Coast after a year off, and we sold 5 events there. All right, Shawnee, you are up in round 4. What are you looking at?
I'm taking a first baseman that the dude right before me left him for me, and he went for DeGrom, which is a pretty good value. DeGrom is a guy that's going to be a big mover in spring training. I think that he'll end up being in the second round for sure. People are just waiting to see him, but I mean, he's been so good when he's on the mound. You just need to, he's healthy, he had surgery, hopefully cleaned up what was wrong, and that's what I kind of made that comparison when I was writing him. With Crochet, great numbers, but 150 innings and a bunch of strikeouts. But DeGrom's has a great body of work, been injured, but now if he's healthy, I think people will gravitate to DeGrom over Crochet. What do you think about that?
You got to have a risk tolerance, and you can look at Team 6. He's got Acuna and DeGrom, so that's a lot of risk tolerance. But yeah, when you're in the main event and you're paying $1,800, Crochet doesn't have the history of throwing more than 150 innings, but he's been pretty solid, looked great last year. DeGrom, I mean, I'm all off, but what the hell do I know? I don't know, Tom, you got a risk tolerance for DeGrom?
Well, I mean, you look at Team 6. I mean, you're talking about in a contest like the Rotowire with the overall prize. I mean, Team 6, that's all upside right there, right? I mean, Dela Cruz, Bryce Harper, Acuna, DeGrom. If all those guys are healthy, that is an upside draft right there in the first 4 rounds. But obviously, there's risk with Acuna, with DeGrom. I mean, even Harper's got some risk, with injuries. But man, that's a pure upside draft through the first 4 rounds right there.
Totally agree. It seems like and you can tell me, Tom, on the ADPs. I mean, we're getting a lot of starting pitchers here in the 4th round, but boy, when I'm looking at the DCs, it seems like the starting pitchers go up a little higher and a lot more yellow on the board. And again, 15 teams, you're all trying to get 1 or 2, or you're trying to get that closer to go along with your ace. So these 12 teamers, I'm seeing more offense than I am starting pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the ADP, this is the range. 3rd, 4th, 5th round. That's when they start coming off the board in the Rotowire. I kind of start looking at the, Logan Gilbert, Crochet. That's kind of when they start jumping off the board, that 3rd, 4th, 5th round range, but especially the 3rd and 4th round. That's when you start seeing the yellow, and you're seeing it here. Look at all those yellow stickers in the 3rd and 4th round. Now you're seeing them in the 5th here with Kirby, Snell, Dylan Cease. But yeah, in the Rotowire specifically, that's the range when they start coming off the board. But you can definitely see it in the ADP. Go to our ADP, play nfbc.com/ADP. You can filter it by contest, by date. But yeah, you can definitely see it. That's the range when they start coming off the board.
Yeah, 3rd round is heavy in the 15 teamers. Even 2nd round, you're seeing more yellow than in one round. All right, Shawnee, you got the pick in the 5th round. What are you looking at?
I was hoping a starting pitcher made it to me. I think that it's an interesting from the starting pitchers in a range. There's going to be a lot of different opinions on them, but I think I'm just going to take a closer, and I'm going to take Hader just to get one in the bank. I think in the 12-teamer where it's early, if I get one good one, the first wave up area, there might be 2 or 3 options that could be helpful, and I just don't want to mess with it, especially where it's like kind of nobody really knows a lot of players, and the order of the players is probably going to be a little weaker this time of the year. It'll tighten up as we get to March and as these drafts go along. So I just took him. I know he's got a lot of strikeouts, really kind of has underperformed a little bit as far as not getting like 40-something saves, but he's a good arm. And, I really don't have like some of the closers like Williams. I know he's, only pitched 20 innings last year, but I don't know where he's exactly at, and he pitched pretty good. So I just don't want to, I'd rather take the veteran there, where I'm not fully got my handle on who's healthy and who's not. I'm watching the news, but more on the players I'm writing when I'm doing it than the general news.
Yeah, I'm doing a DC, and I saw that Hader and Mason Miller are right next to each other on the draft champions ADPs. So you're getting them much after, almost a full round after Mason Miller. Here goes Diaz. You can see it. I got to talk to you. Stephen Goodwin is breaking down last year's national champions. He had a great presentation out at the Arizona Fall League Symposium. And one of the things he noticed with a lot of almost all of the national champions was they had 2 closers that stayed healthy last year, and 2 closers that really contributed an awful lot, right? And I don't know if that's the strategy or if it just was how it played out last year, but what an advantage in fab leagues when you can hit 2 closers, whether it's 15 team or 12 teams, and not have to chase that all year long in fab. Am I correct, Shawn?
the money you save is really, really good. It gives you more capital to buy other players. And then I think the last 2 or 3 years, we always had that dual ace thing going on.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted 2 aces, but
Right.
the top 12 closers has actually had more value than the second starting pitcher. That doesn't mean that you couldn't have drafted 2 top 12 starting pitchers that were in that range that fell in the top 2 ace thing category, but the second closer is really, really valuable, especially if you get 45 saves out of a closer and you only need 60 to be mid-pack. I mean, that gives you a lot of upside, especially if you can manage your team around that and find somebody on the waiver wire, catch a value there. So kind of an interesting thing. And I've said, and I talked to a couple of people, I just got to do a better job with that one guy in saves, and then keep an open mind on when I want to get my second one.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, and that's exactly what Steven was saying was, you're getting two guys if they're getting 35 or 40 saves, and then you're getting 90 to 100 strikeouts from these guys. They are so valuable right now, even more so than that second starting pitcher. But that was a winning combination last year. Easier said than done, right? I mean, you can get a top closer in the draft, and he craps the bed or he gets hurt. So it's a lot easier said than done, but you can definitely see here in round 5, what did we end up here? Get out of my way, Adley. Yeah, Hader, Williams, Diaz, Iglesias, right in a row there. Clase and Mason Miller in round 4. So what do we got? 2, 4, 6 or 7 closers off the board right now through the first 5 rounds.
And Clark Olson's team that won the main event overall, he didn't do well in closers. He had Diaz and Tanner Scott, and he got a half a year, but he didn't really chase saves on the waiver wire and spend a bunch of money. He kind of picked it around here or there, and he was so dominant in all the other categories. That one, I think he finished 7th in the league in saves, but the rest of the categories were enough. And Daly did a really good job for the starting pitching side of it, and and he had those foundation bats. He had like 5 great bats on that team. It was just really impressive.
Yeah, like you say, starting out Ohtani and Ramirez, and Clark was in 4 main events, and he had either the 14th or the 15th pick in each of them. And he didn't complain about it. He just went to town, and he had an incredible year, obviously. And we'll be highlighting Clark and inducting him into the NFBC Hall of Fame in March. That'll be Saturday morning at Park MGM. So we're looking forward to that. That's March 22nd. Yeah, March 22nd. And should be a lot of fun out there. So come join us. We're going to have some fun. Like you say, he had a great draft with his hitters. He did enough, like you said, in saves, and he had starting pitchers. I know you analyzed his team, so you probably know his team better than he does.
Yeah, he had Adames that really had a good year and added the 20 steals, and he had Santander hit 40 home runs. I think those were like the 12th and the 13th round picks.
Yeah.
He had a Rosarina on that team, and I wrote about his whole season. I think I mentioned him once. So he had like a 4th round pick that was like just there. He didn't, was nothing special.
Yeah.
This is interesting. When a lot of these positions, even here we are in the 6th ring, we're not even in the main event. Yeah. There's a lot of positions where there's a lot of similarities and nobody really stands out. So which direction you want to go, and somebody that's drafting a little more is going to have a little more opinion because they can see opportunity a little later in the draft. Whereas I'm just kind of winging it. Catchers dropped off. First base is, some players that are decent and maybe but they're all kind of similar. Second base, Simeon's got obviously a pretty good resume, a lot of at bats, and coming off a down year. Westberg, people like, but I'm not sure that he steals enough, and he really is going to have high enough in the bat in order for me to make a run at it. Adames going to a different park. I don't like the steals going to back up. Don't like the park. He really just, I'm not buying last year's stats. I don't know about McLean. And outfield is just not really there. I'm going to just, because I'm kind of like winging it here, I'm just going to take the veteran with Simeon and get a second baseman. He's getting older and I could get stuck there, but, this is trial and error, and just, get a good veteran guy. And I feel like, I'm falling into like John Posma's lane, just take the steady guy, the safe guy, and then add a little bit of upside. And taking Hader, he's from Milwaukee. He's rubbing off on me, and he doesn't listen to me. He doesn't care,
You wish he was rubbing off on you. He's been as successful as anyone. Won the $150,000 grand prize in this contest last year. Hall of Famer John Posma. I'm going to be talking with Hall of Famer John Posma. I'm going to do a NFBC Champions podcast week, the week of February 17th through the 20th. John's joining me. What do I got here? Thursday, February 20th at 8 Eastern time. So looking forward to that. But yeah, we want to honor our 2024 national champions. So going to do some interviews with them.
I don't think I can make that week, so just leave me off that schedule.
Yeah, you're off the schedule. Don't worry about it. Maybe next year, though. Hey, Tom, I have to tell you, I think this is going to be Shawn's comeback year. And you know why?
I'm waiting. Why?
Come along, play along, would you? Just play along.
Why? I said why.
First of all three of us are in our 60s. We know it, right? Let's just admit it right now. We're all in our 60s. But come on, play along with you. So I talked to Shawn today, and the dude is doing push-ups and sit-ups every day. He's trying to get himself in shape again. He's trying to, come to Vegas looking sharp and
that's
slick.
good.
So I think this is going to be his best year, right, Shawn?
All right.
I think so. I mean, I think that if you just let the players have, take steroids like they used to and stay in the lineup and not get hurt, and then you get rid of these like ADPs so people can't see them. And
my goodness, you sound like
how about these podcasts? We can't even talk about them anymore. You're giving information.
You sound like Get Off My Lawn Grandpa or something like that.
On a completely unrelated note, we have our first team that's taken 2 catchers now, as Team 1 just took back-to-back catchers there.
Hey, Team 2's got both Contrerases. What are you talking about? Look at Team 2. Both Contrerases.
Oh, I missed that. My bad. So Teams 1 and 2 with catchers now.
Yeah,
dual
catchers. Interesting. I don't know if I'd have the 2 brothers on my same team, but that's pretty good.
So did
Garrett actually trying to contribute something to the live stream besides push-ups and sit-ups there. Sorry.
Did Garrett Cole die here, or is this just like we're waiting to see him? And is that a bad investment? He got hurt last year. It gave a half season that was okay, but now
it's your risk tolerance. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, it's, I wrote about him and I was neutral, but I mean, when I look at the other pitchers and some of the other positions, I mean, I'm going to have to do something here, and I don't know if I want to take him, but you're forcing me. So, can you pause that for me? Come on.
Make a decision in 10 seconds.
Why not? Boy. I didn't want that other team that's taking all the upside to get him. And, I don't know where I'm at on this situation. But I know that I'm not in the Pablo Lopez camp, who's next. I think he's okay. And, the Chicago White Sox guy, Igmar Naga, had a good year, but, I don't know. So that's an interesting dilemma. Yep. But I think that a lot of the pitchers, like you said, people are taking the closers early. So some of the starting pitchers are sliding back, and they're waiting to see what happens. And there's pretty good opportunities in that, the SP2s and the SP3s where people think they can piece the team together by waiting. So I don't know, but I just took Garrett Cole, and I can't say that I've had him in at least in a while.
Certainly not in the 7th round. You haven't had him in a while. That's for sure. Okay, I got to ask you a player profile here. So Junior Caminero just went 74. I know his ADP is much higher than that because I'm in a draft right now, and I was going to jump him around. And of course, Brent Hershey and Ray Murphy jumped him 1 pick before I did. What do you think of Junior Caminero, third base eligible, all the talent in the world, had a great winter league, and going at 74?
It's interesting because the first year I played in the NFBC, I took Miguel Cabrera in the 6th round. And when I was looking at him, I had that mindset of, is that guy, could he pop? And then when I was looking on the last round in pick 6, I looked at him, but because it was a 12-teamer, I was like, he might last a little bit longer. So I think that he has the potential to really, really smash this season. His ADP I thought was later, but like I said, I have no rhythm at all of, and even jockeying back and forth when I'm talking to you. I mean, I can look at the names and have a pretty good opinion of who I like, I don't like, but I can't be checking off players and stuff like that, even though I did send out a Google sheet to anybody that want to look at it with the ADPs from your last 5 drafts. So they know what I'm kind of looking at, the same information. But yeah, I think that I think it's fair. If he would have made it to me, if Bellinger or him would have made it to me, I was a good chance I would have taken either one of them. Bellinger going to the Yankees, and I thought about both, and I just said, you know what, I'll take the veteran bat and see if one makes it back, and they didn't. So I had to shop in another different lane. So interesting player. you know, and especially in a 12-teamer where he goes, it's fine. You know,
Yeah.
place your bet on who you like.
No, I agree. I think at 74, what's his ADP in the 12s, Tom?
Around 77-ish.
Oh, is it?
I'm
Okay.
looking at it right now.
Because I know I was in a DC and here it is. I got it right here. Yeah, he's 88 in the DC over the last 2 weeks. So, yeah, it's not a jump too much, but I think what everybody's trying to think is at this point, I need to jump him around because he's not coming back to me. And I think that's exactly what you said, Shawn. You could have taken him in the 6th round, but you thought he might come back to you. So,
and if I look I did the last 5 drafts of your ADPs, and I could have just looked to him quick and saw that he was in that range that Tom was saying, and of course that I'm just looking at it and talking to you and not paying attention and be you know, kind of a slacker here, but it's okay. You know, there's something to be said when you take you know, a Simeon that's had you know, some pretty good years and he dropped off last year, but he gets a ton of at bats and stuff like that. I am getting sort of a proven floor, but you know, we'll see if you know, he's getting older and he breaks down or something like that. So, you know, that guy's got to beat that. So we'll see.
Yeah. The upside is very, very high. And like you said, when you drafted Cabrera, what was he? Probably 19 years old, right? So there's a little bit of a risk of taking a 19-year-old there. It's the same with Caminero, but boy, it sure looks like the talent's off the charts with that guy. So.
Yeah, really, really exciting.
All right. We're about halfway through here. It's half an hour in, and we're already through 7 rounds. So you can see these move pretty good. Tom, how long are these taking each night that you're watching? 12 teams, 30 rounds.
Yeah, they take about 2.5 hours or so to complete.
Yeah.
Around there. So we get through the 12 teamers at a pretty good clip.
Yeah, definitely. All right, there goes Adames in round 8. Shawn, everything you said about him, I had a chance to pick him in this draft that I'm in right now, and I kind of looked too, and I thought the ballpark, I don't see the stolen bases being what they were last year. Good player. The shortstop position is really deep, and I mean, you can even see the ones going off right now, but that was my feeling was, even after him, there was still, like, you talked about one player that I'm targeting right now, but I think the shortstop position is really deep compared to some of the other infield positions.
Yeah, you got a lot of opportunities the way it's going to flow and how you want to build it, especially in a 15 team where the inventory is a little spread out. 12 team, you're going to get to take advantage of it. So this is a real, oh man.
I'm going to ask you about Sasaki after you make your pick here too.
Yeah, I like Sasaki is a really, really intriguing player. I mean, I just think the Dodgers these guys are going to pitch like 5 innings.
Right.
But I really liked what I saw of him, and I think he just throws hard and he profiles really well. And you know, a lot of the Dodgers, but you know, they don't need to push these guys.
No, right. They got 6 guys they might pitch. So, all right, what are you doing here in the round 8?
You know what? I'm going to go off the board I was really off this player last year, and I'm going to take Riley Green. Just somebody that I think is going to improve a little bit and just give me some stuff, and he could be a lot better. The year before, he had a lot of ground balls. They really didn't like his swing path, but he ended up, you know, performing pretty good. You know, so a guy that's young, a little bit of upside, has a decent season under his belt. We'll chip in maybe a little bit with speed, but not much. So, you know, just picking away at this. I consider to going in another direction or so, but you know, hey.
I'm proud of our IT here. I didn't even know we did this, Tom, but we're not showing the owners' names on our public board here on the big sticker.
Started off too, yeah.
Don't worry, I'm going to post it right away when I get done.
That was something we had to ask for, and I didn't even know that. We haven't even talked about it or anything, but this is our first live stream, and I guess that's an improvement where we're not showing it there. So I agree with you on Sasaki. You know, when the Dodgers signed him, he was going 3rd, 4th round in a lot of drafts, and he's just been dropping. And I was in this one too, and I was like, geez, I should take him, but the projected innings is less than 150 for this guy, and they may go at 6 starting pitchers and all that kind of stuff. So I can see why he's dropping here. I mean, I think he's going to put up nice numbers, but will he pitch enough to justify it? And that's why I think he's falling.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, the next thing is to get to 150 innings, but that's some in the playoffs. They're going to hold him back a little bit. Good command, big electric fastball, swing and miss, split finger pitch. But I was 125 innings in the regular season, and they could be pretty good. And who you're going to pair it with, really your SP2 on some teams, or even some people that cheated. Look at team number team number 3 already has 6 pitchers, so it's
2 of them are closers. He's got Helsley and Batista, so he's got 4 starters. McLean, that's an interesting one for sure.
Yeah,
second base, shortstop eligible. All right, what are you leaning towards here? Then I'm going to talk about another guy.
Well, what do we got? Pick 100. You know what? I'm gonna take this guy and I'm gonna reach for him. I just don't want to get cheated at the position, and I think he's a pretty good Logan O'Hoppe. I know he goes later on the ADP, and I just behind, and I might have potentially if gone for like a reliever, but I didn't like where they were. So, but O'Hoppe, I just think that he could be a lot better, steal a few bases, and I kind of did him. I had him ranked at 4th at catcher when I did the write up. So I'm going to stick to my guns and take him kind of as a value. Where is he? 1, 2, 3,
8.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't mind having a couple of those other options, but it just didn't break right for them to make it to me when I was willing to pay that price. So who's the player you?
One of your favorites that you're always in on is Cody Bellinger going to Yankee Stadium with that swing. If he stays healthy, I mean, that's a hell of a landing spot. I know you like him an awful lot. What's your thoughts on him this year?
Yeah, I had I had him in that year. They had that breakout season. I think we were all over him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I did something today where I was writing something for him, but he's basically a guy that really cut down his strikeouts the last couple of years, but his like hard hit rate and all that other metrics kind of dropped because he was just trying to kind of put the ball in play. So I said, like, playing in Yankee Stadium, if he gets his home run swing back and his approach, I mean, he's going to be dynamite. He's a guy that's can potentially hit 40 home runs. But when you look at his profile, you got to think of him as more as like a 25-20 guy, a better park with a little more upside in home runs. His batting average okay, but he could be a really fun player. But the strikeouts have improved, but he's had a couple down years before that. You just don't want the strikeouts to creep back in him. But I think he's definitely a value there, a guy that could, maybe hit 30 home runs, steal 15, 20 bases for a guy that qualifies at first. That's a pretty good advantage. So I definitely, my timing was off on, when I took the players, but I'm, kind of finessing and I shouldn't, type of thing.
If he only gets 25 home runs, I'll be shocked in that stadium. I mean, my goodness. But he's got to stay healthy. I'm with you. I figured you were on him this year, and I actually drafted him in this other one after I didn't get Caminero. So
yeah, I'm on him for sure. I'm interested. I mean, like that's weird because if you're in a 15-team league and he was like the 5th, 6th round, I would do that. But now what is the pick where when I'm picking in the 6th round and 12-teamer, we're out not even 72. We're just barely crawling into the But, yeah, Grayson Rodriguez, that guy. He potentially could be a beast. Good record in the minors, getting closer. The command stuff was there. I think he's a guy that's you're willing to fight for this year. I think he could pop.
Yep, I agree. And going in the 9th round there is pretty darn good value too. What'd they do at the park there? Did they lowered the fences or whatever in left field? What did they do in Baltimore?
They changed the configuration, from like left center to the line, where it's not all the way in, all the way across, but it is going to promote more home runs to right-handed batters. So, but somebody that's going to be an ace. I think it's going to hurt some of the other pitchers there, but
no, I wasn't worried about that, but I just knew it was more hitter friendly because they went too far in making it pitcher friendly, especially on the left field side there. But I knew they did something with the ballpark there. Santander leaving Camden Yards and going to Toronto. Is that going to help him or hurt him?
He's a better player than I really thought he was. I mean, as far as like, I didn't think he'd get to 40 home runs, but he's a guy that doesn't strike out too much, has a pretty good approach, switch hitter, I believe. And he just, he got better. And, sometimes when those guys, this is the type of player that I use this thing and I don't talk about it too much. Sometimes I'm a fantasy snob looking for that, that talent, that's a young guy that will get better. And then there's a guy that's 28, 29 years old that gets a job and like Lane Thomas or something like that 2 years ago. Like last year, I didn't draft him, but he ended up, fading the second half. But those guys that do it for 1 year, they're older. I don't gravitate to them because I'm a fantasy snob. I want some guy that's going to be really thing. So he fell into that. But I think he's done enough for like 3 years in a row, and I think he's going to be a competitive, hitting the middle of the lineup. So pretty intriguing guy as far, especially when you're looking for power in that area of the grass.
All right. If anybody wants to post any comments on Shawn's team, he's team 5. Anybody other team you want, go ahead. We'll post them right here. Got any questions for Shawn? Post them here as well. We're going to be here for another couple more minutes, I think, and then we'll let Shawn really concentrate on his cheat sheets and such. We're not bothering you, are we?
No. I mean, I'm not even whatever. I mean, just kind of winging it. And what would I be doing? The projections for the receivers for Kansas City in the Super Bowl. I already did the projections, but just writing about them briefly.
All right. So when you're looking at other teams here, do you feel like you're light on pitching or not right now? There's some teams, like you say, have 5, 6 pitchers, 2 closers. What are your thoughts?
Well, I would think that I probably would want to have more starters, but I think there's arms that I like. I mean, obviously I got Skeens that's a top ace, and if I'm drafting Cole, I got to think he's better. Hader's fine. I would prefer to have a second closer, but I'm not going to really chase that until I'm, if I see a better opportunity. But like Rodriguez, I could have taken him, and would have O'Hoppe made it back to me. His ADP is 116. I think or I would have picked 116. His ADP was like 120 to 155. So, timing is definitely going to be off for me, just, out of rhythm and, just kind of getting there. But I'm not too worried about, because I think there's a lot of arms that I like that are, probably from 45 to 60 that could help me. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you got 2 number 1 starters. You got a top closer. Now you got to fill in.
Yeah, last year's bums. Who's last year's bums?
They're all off the board.
No, or Rosarina, he's a bum.
Oh.
Like he didn't do anything, and but he's been pretty good in the past.
Yep.
At least like being the 2020 guy. I think he actually ended up being the 2020 last year. So this type of thing. Steer.
There goes a Brewers' new closer.
Is he?
I don't know.
Well, I thought you were in charge of which one of you guys in charge of the bullpen here? I should have this information in advance.
I don't think either one of us are even in charge of the Brewers' knowledge of what they've got going this year.
Well, let me see if I can finesse this guy. Let's see here. 132.
Uh-oh. Now you're getting serious.
Oh, boy. That's just, where am I at? 120? Yeah, now we'll wait another round. You know what? I'm just going to take a balanced player. Discounted guy that went a little higher. His batting average went off thing. He was a little, his contact batting average, I believe, is pretty out of line for what he was in the past. So I'm going to think, let me just bring that up just so confirm what I was thinking. What
about the park factor there with him?
I don't think that's really, I don't expect big home runs out of him anyway. So I'm just looking for a steady, balanced player, hitting a decent part of the lineup and maybe just chip in. Let's see here. Yeah. So when I use this stat, contact batting average is basically their hits divided by at bats minus strikeouts. I'm not a Babbitt guy. I can't stand it. But so, a Rosarina 429, 404, 358, 354, obviously a couple, those were, short sample sizes, especially 2020. But last year it was 316. So he dropped to 219. So I think that's an outlier. So he's more going to fall in that range where, 250, 260 would potentially be upside. And I look for him to bounce back. He had last year, right, 10% RBI rate. And people don't follow this either. He came to the plate with 425 guys on base. He drove in 42. 10% is like worse than a Judy leadoff hitter. Like those guys should drive in like 12. That was just horrible. Like a Freddie Freeman, a Cabrera in their primes, 23%. Probably the league average is 15%. The other good guys are, 18, 9%, 19%. But he was just so bad. But he still got 70 runs, had 2020 guy, bad year. Strikeouts up a little bit, so I'm just looking for a bounce back. And Clark drafted him. If Clark can draft him, I can come back with his players, right? And win the online championship. That's basically the goal here.
That's the goal, absolutely. All right, we're just talking about starting pitchers, and you passed on Freddie Peralta, Brewers ace, 200 Ks a year, and you passed on Spencer Strider.
Yeah, the Strider's thing's coming off that other, he didn't have the Tommy John, that right. Other surgery, that brace thing, and it's I just don't know. Coming off that, I've read that there's 2 things that I want to avoid with pitchers this year. Like somebody coming off an injury like that, I want to kind of stay away from. If they go late enough, I'll be interested. And I want to stay away from pitchers that kind of lose a strikeout per inning, and it's just kind of a sign like Gossman dropped a lot, and I know he goes a lot later, but at some point, he could give you innings and maybe bounce back because he is a veteran, and maybe it's more reflective of a younger guy of I think Bieber coming into last year had a drop off. The Houston pitcher that Christian Javier or whatever, a couple years ago, he lost his command. He lost his strikeout per inning, and those guys end up diving off the board there and being bad investments. So I'm just kind of paying attention to those and not trying to buy those guys on the bounce back and buy the other arms that are trending up. So
yeah.
So that's. Oh, so we got somebody from Las Vegas that I know. The other guy, I mean, I know a few of these guys. I think one of these guys is playing in my AL auction. He's using this as a scouting report. Too bad he doesn't know anything. Should I tell him that I probably won't even be able to do a cheat sheet? I'm so busy. Good thing we're not going to labor. Are we still going? Is Tom?
No, we're not going to labor. We're done with that. Actually, let's see. What are they doing with labor? They're doing it online or something, I think.
They're doing it. It's not even in Florida or anything.
You know what? I thought somebody told me that, but I'm not positive.
You would have went. You were already in Florida. You would have just stayed there.
No, I know. We're not doing labor ever again. We're done. 30 years. 30 years was enough. So
they just that the rules are unique for that.
I will be in Florida at that time too. So yeah. All right. Enough of that. Let's see what we got. Real Moot, though, going in the 10th round, I know his numbers are down. Is he going to play a little bit of first base this year at all, or not? No?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I thought they were going to try to get him, less behind the plate. But damn, 10th round seems like I don't know. What do I know? But seems like a nice price. All right.
I'm taking one for the team here. I have no inside information, but hey, he's done it before.
Yeah, there you go.
Somebody's got to do it. Help me in batting average, maybe, or nothing else. But hey, take a dart. You can see I'm not taking a lot of young guys here.
You're not taking a lot of pitchers either. You're behind on the pitching, I think.
Oh wow, that's what I got.
Maybe not.
A lot of yellow on that roster.
Not a lot of yellow, but I guess he's not so far behind.
Yeah, I probably have to take 3 in a row. Maybe I can take McClanahan. Oh, he went. Shit.
No, you can't.
All right, you've always been on Bo Bichette, so you got to think he's going to bounce back a little bit at 11th round pick, right?
Yeah, I mean, what is that? And then he's like an 8th rounder. I mean, I think he would be the 9th rounder in the 15-teamer. But his ADP, I looked it up before I won the last round. It was 132 to 150, but he might have won another pick. But maybe I should have taken a pitcher. But it is what it is. If he does what he did before, he'll help in batting average. Help me out a little bit. I'm pretty balanced. I'm getting home runs out of everybody so far. I'm not getting killed. But like you said, I am trail. I need a second closer. And, so I think I'm going to have to knock out a couple pitchers in a row here to kind of catch up, see what happens at the saves, and just kind of fill it in. But I mean, if this team wins, why draft, right? You don't have to draft anymore. He didn't even know what he was doing. He wasn't game ready. Oh, I think maybe Yates will make it back to me. I'll just talk about the players. He was listening to me, and
you got a lot of work to do. You've been talking pretty smart. You got to fill in. It gets a little harder in the second half of the draft, just so you know.
It does. I've done 75 pitchers. So yeah. I've documented 75 pitchers. So
you've picked 3 of them so far, just so you know.
Yep. Well, let's see what I said about Cole. Let me see. I should look. Let's see. Where did I have Cole here? He was 17th. He was a 17th pitcher.
17th pitcher.
Yeah. I expect his draft value to rise similar to DeGrom in March when the fantasy market has places bigger bets on the aged donkey of the year. I sense a rat. Oh, there you go. Cole showed enough over 2/3 of last season to believe he will be an edge again if he can make 30 starts. So, so it's again, if he's on the mound, they pay. Look at these guys. These teams pay these guys tons of money, and we're scared to death to draft him. He's making $144 million over the next 4 years, and we can't even commit a 7th round pick. We're scared.
Yeah, that's why they're trying to stretch them out over 4 years because they're paying them so much. They don't want them to break down in 1 year. So,
Mhm.
all right, as everyone can see, we have a promo code for anybody who's watching here. This is the only time we'll give $25 off on a Rotowire Online Championship. But anybody who took the time to watch this, that's available tonight and through tomorrow. And then that's it. Tomorrow night it'll end. So you got 24 hours if you want to save $25 on an individual Rotowire Online Championship. Join us. $150,000 grand prize. If you're just watching, I guess we should have set it up. This is a 12-team, 30-round draft with FAB during the season. Pay the top two in each league, $1,400 to first, $700 to second, $150,000 grand prize. John Posma is a defending champion and a near perfect team, believe it or not.
I do have all his information where I can go document that if I ever had time.
Yeah. Okay. Stephen Goodwin has it all too. He was kind of displayed it out in Arizona, and it was a hell of a not only draft, but the way he just filled in all the categories that he needed during the year was impressive, John, for sure. So, all right, we're gonna call it a night after this next round here. We got through almost 12 rounds, and Shawn, we appreciate you taking the time to do this. Appreciate everybody who showed up to watch this. Again, these are available every night. We have extended drafts right now, 2-hour and 4-hour ones. Those are available through February 27th. Then we're going to shut them down because we want people drafting every night in March. So we're not going to have extended drafts through March. We're going to end them in February here. So, Tom, did I miss anything from everything that we've got going? Park MGM Las Vegas. Come join us. Like you said, New Jersey's sold out. We're going to the MTM Castle. Going to have some fun out there. So, anything else I miss?
No, just drafts. Like you said, everything we got at playnfbc.com. We got drafts going on every single day, slow drafts, drafts at night, auctions, everything you want. It starts at $50 on up. So, excuse me, come join us at playnfbc.com. We got these live streams. We'll be doing more of those as well. Greg, like he said, got the championship interviews coming up in a couple of weeks or so. So join us on our YouTube channel. Join us at playnfbc.com and definitely come join us out in Las Vegas next month. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Give a subscribe to our YouTube channel. Then you'll know every time you'll get an alert when I'm going to have interview or a live stream draft. We try to do one live stream draft per week as we get ready into March. One more announcement. I don't know if it's official yet, but Tom is going to be hosting our High Stakes Fantasy Advantage show back on SiriusXM Wednesday nights starting February 19th. And we're going to be working with Rotowire. We'll have Jeff Erickson and some other guys on the show as well. So Tom will be hosting that every Wednesday night. We'll get our NFBC guys on. We'll do a live draft and have people come on as well. So we're back after a year off the air. We have been on for 12 straight years, and we are going to be back on, 2 weeks from tomorrow night, Tom, I believe.
2 weeks from last night. Yeah. February 19th. Looking forward to it. Yeah, like you said, Jeff Erickson will be on with me for, I think, the first 2 shows. And then we'll have some rotating hosts from Rotowire join me after that. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yep, absolutely. Shawnee, I thank you very much. Hope you had a good draft. Hope you learned a few things. And thanks for spewing the information to all of our guys as well.
All right, thanks. I was hoping you got back to me before I picked. So I took Diaz, but would you have taken the Dodger closer there? Get back to the pitcher. Sorry, Yates. Take the better pitcher with probably splitting time with saves, or go for a guy that gets saves and kind of pitched poorly last year. That was kind of the dilemma there. And I just went for the saves rather than the arm. And just, but maybe Diaz bounces back. And the other thing that I was coming into that turn is that going away from me, I was going to take a second catcher potentially on the way back because 3 of the teams have 2 catchers. So if Team 4 doesn't do it on the way back, then I will take Francisco Alvarez. If he hears me, then he did a good job. But but I just trying to get that. Like I talked about earlier, I wanted to sew up that the 2 catchers that potentially would have a lot of power. Kind of balance, but now I got you taking another hitter, I'm going to have to really kind of pound the yellows from here on out. So good talking to you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Sorry, I was a little kamikaze and not so organized, but I guess it's a little more fun this way. We'll see how this team does at the end of the year.
It's more fun this way. And as far as the Dodgers, I mean, Yates and Tanner Scott and whoever else, I mean, that's going to be a lot of saves, but it's going to be divvied up by a bunch of people. I probably would have taken Diaz myself. Just my 2 cents. All right.
All right. I'm going to listen to you while I'm doing it because I am not moving,
All right. Thank you all for joining us, and we shall see you later. All right. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thanks again.
Okay. What does this say here? Play auto.
Thank you for joining us on the High Stakes Fantasy Network podcast. To get in the game, go to playnfc.com.